What's up, everyone? I'm here with another Unordinary review of the current chapter, which I'm dumb, so I forgot what number that I read, so it's going to be in the title description down below. But before I get into this review, I will keep saying this until the event is over, but Uru-Chan, the creator of this amazing webtoon, is coming to Chicago between April 6th through the 8th. Well, she's going to be here for 2 days, but that's when the convention is. And so if you're around the Chicago area, if you can get here, if you want to come and get here, I will send a link in the description below on where you can get your ticket. It's one of the bigger conventions for Chicago, so I'm not too surprised. But again, if you really want to come see Uru-Chan, she will be in Chicago. She's going to be doing a panel, and I think she's going to be at the Line Webtoon booth. So if you really want to come and see her, I'll leave the link in the description below. With that being said, also, there was a contest because she got 100,000 followers on Instagram. So if you haven't done that contest, it's probably too late by the time I get this video out, but I still wanted to say something. Yeah, just go to her Instagram. I'll leave the Instagram in the link in the description below, I guess. With that being said, she's an amazing artist, an amazing creator. So with that being said, let's get into this review. Unlike a lot of the webtoons, honestly, I have a lot to say about this chapter because you get to see more about John that I feel like than you have in any of the other previous chapters. See, John can be considered a butthole. I mean, if you didn't see the current arc before the new season of Unordinary began, he was kind of a jerk. Not gonna lie. I mean, he slapped the girl and he was a complete, anus to Arlo, who helped him every step of the way. So, but in this chapter, actually, you kind of see a little bit about why he's such a jerk and so mean to everybody. I mean, well, playing as he's a cripple, you know, he gets beat up, he gets bullied, he gets tormented because that he has no abilities. But that seems to have not changed even when he had abilities, which can explain why he is so aggressive and so mean. When he had the power, well, if we look at the earlier chapters of Unordinary, we see people are ganging up on him. You know, we see him always constantly having to fight. And that really hasn't changed from when he was a cripple till now. And it's kind of a little sad, but also it helps us understand John's character more. I will say this, I felt that this chapter, the current one, was about John, and it gave us a little insight about why John is the way he is. In this chapter, we see two guys who are basically bullying him for no apparent reason, just to explore their dominance and their authority, which again goes to the underlying theme of Unordinary, which focuses on this hierarchy and how the ones with the most power have the most standing, and they're allowed to do whatever they want with the lower standing of those with superpowers. And it's so interesting because you see a lot of that in just real life, as those with money have more say in the world than some that don't. You know, we don't want to admit to this, but it's kind of true because I know personally it's happened to me in a lot of cases. And just to see that executed so well in such an amazing webtoon just makes all of this really interesting, and I can see why it's one of the most popular webtoons that have come out in recent times of webtoons. Part of this chapter also showed us a lot about how power is kept under control and how the scales of power can be tipped. Arlo and Eason are both being quiet about John's power because it's not that they're scared of him. Moreover, it's because they don't want the scales of power to be tipped over. What I really like about Unordinary and how the school is set up is the fact that power determines everything. Power determines who has more say than other people. But if that power scale was tipped, then you would have chaos in this school. And that's where Unordinary is heading at this point to me, where the scales of power are being tipped and it's going to be a riot in the school, which is why Arlo is trying to protect Serafina and why Serafina is being so quiet about her losing her power. Because, see, what I like about Serafina is that she's such a defining factor into the school rioting and the school being stable. And so is John in a lot of ways, but we clearly know that currently in Webtoon. Seraphina keeps balance. She keeps structure in that school, which is why when she left for a whole month, things kind of got crazy, if you understand what I mean, if you've been keeping up with the Webtoon. So when she came back, kind of that power was restored and everything went back to normal. But what if they find out that she doesn't have her power, which is kind of being talked about the school in the current at this point, there are only two things that come to mind after reading the current chapter of Unordinary. One, who is this kid and what is his relationship with Amber, if there is any relationship with Amber, or what is his motive? We have a kid by the name of Terrence, which he was identified is the private reporter whose ability is to be invincible. Not invincible, invisible. And with this invisibility, he was able to find out a lot of things, like where Seraphina and John were, and that John is the new Shadow King, basically, and he's pulling Arlo by strings. But then another thing is the school going to turn into chaos when Seraphina is identified to not have any ability, and when John is identified to have more ability than anybody else? What is going to happen? All this is very interesting. And again, this is what makes Unordinary such an amazing read, such an amazing page turner every single week. It's because of the suspense that it has. It's because of the build-up, and it's so nice paced and it's so easy flowing that the viewers like myself are just waiting for more and more and more. If you want to read Unordinary, as always, I will leave a link in the description below. I will leave a link to Uru-Chan's Instagram and whatever else she has. She has something else, I forgot. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe and comment what is your favorite moment of Unordinary, or what do you think about the current chapter if you are watching this video. With that being said, I thank you for watching, listening, and have a great day.